Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Happy Friday. We are going to rip apart Mark McGuire's guest today. A weatherman and an engineer are going to teach you economics. Okay, yeah, I really want to watch that. What a joke. This is where I'm doing technical analysis again because I can use them as examples of how not to invest. Um, just a second. David, how are you today? It's weird. It was like yesterday I had it was just me and maybe one or two people. So people get busy. Well, it was June 19th yesterday. So watching Mark McGuire's, I thought it was terrible. He has these two guys and they're trying to do technical analysis. They don't know what brics is. They don't know what inflation is. They just show you charts and say, look, it went up and then it went down. Oh, fabulous. Yeah. Oh, okay. And they're trying to chart Bitcoin, which they don't even know is a Ponzi scheme, and gold and silver. They don't know it's price fixed. So you can't chart any of that shit. And they're trying to show it. So we'll watch a little of it because I want to rip them apart because I hate people who come on to try to sell you something and they don't know what they're talking about. How the fuck would you listen to a weatherman and an engineer about economics? And they had no idea my whole point, my whole thesis is you have to take all the variables into consideration. So if you look at the chart in 2000 to 2010, there's no such thing as brics in there, and it's the housing market collapse because they're giving mortgages to people that can't afford it because everybody should own a house. And so everybody collapsed because all the banks were idiots and made these packages to sell loans and get 8%. And but they didn't look at the fact that these people, I mean, I can't believe they're that stupid. They didn't know half these people can't pay the loans back. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And a lot of them went out of business like Lehman's. Anyway, you have these guys on selling this shit. And I'm like, don't look at it, don't buy it. So we're going to rip them apart in a minute. It's ironic because I just talked about technical analysis yesterday, where I basically said you don't have the variables. You can't look at 2008 and say that's what's going to happen today. In other words, you're trying to read the future by looking at the past. I do it in football, but only certain teams where the Mahomes and Andy Reid are there, and we have an idea: are they a good road dog or a good home favorite? That's about it. You can't do much more than that. Okay. And so it's really is Mahomes a good dog? Is Joe Burrow a good dog? And that's basically they're good on the home, they're good on the road. All right, that's basically what I can do with the technical analysis. Otherwise, I got to know the teams, I got to know their defense, the running attack, the balance, injuries, weather, things like that. So if you're looking at charts, you just have no idea. You don't have all the variables that were happening in 2008. So 2006, the housing crisis really started. Is that in your variables? 2006, 7, and 8, the housing market crashed. Unless the housing market crashing now, a little bit, but it's a different type of crash. It's the money going down. It's the dollar being worthless. Well, the dollar even though it's been worthless since 1971, it wasn't the real issue of 2008. So everything that happened there, how can you use it now and say, well, that's what's going to happen as that? So I didn't get it. I'm like, go back to being a weatherman. I really want to listen to a weatherman. Well, he has to know certain things. He doesn't know shit. He cannot understand economics. I got a master's in it to understand it. Before that, I did not understand it. I didn't even know Adam Smith and Austrian economics existed. Right? We all know about communism, and we all knew about. We had no idea what we were doing, and it turns out we are Keynesians or communist. That's the way it's basically central planning versus individuals, and we want individuals. So anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's go through our favorite. Let's go through baseball. Very tough day yesterday. Ouch. I'm just going to go through my picks. I had the Yankees under 10, easy winner, 2 units. Detroit under 7 with Skubal. He gives up a bit. They score. The reason I took it under was because they were facing a lefty who was a 3-point ERA. And I figured all the righties would come in and not hit. So I was wrong. I had the Cubs under 8.5. They went over. That's a loser. I had Pitt in the second game of the doubleheader because of Scanes. Once I saw the pitcher, I made it Pitt. I had Philly, that wins, and I had Tampa, which loses. So I go 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2. I go 3-3 yesterday, which is par for the course. I mean, it's very hard. Once in a while, I run the table. Once in a while, the table runs me. Very difficult. I hit on our big, huge 10-unit play in the NBA yesterday. Indy getting 6.5. I'll pat myself on the back for that one. Nobody had that but us, and it was the easiest bet I ever did because they had to win. Halliburton plays, which I didn't care if he played or not. And OKC in the middle of the fourth quarter pulled all their starters because they rested them for game 7. Anytime you have one team doesn't need to win and one team needs to win, you bet the team that needs to win, especially at home, especially as a dog. And they weren't just a dog, they were 6.5-point favorites. People are idiots. People look at the last game, go, oh, OKC beat them by 11, had them by 20 at OKC. So, of course, they'll go to Indiana and do the same thing, won't they? No, because Indiana must win now. OKC had to win that game 5. Otherwise, they would have got eliminated last night. They would have lost game 5. They would have lost game 6. So they won the game they had to win, game 5. And then game 6, Indy had to win. And Indy blows them out. Last score I saw was 100-75. I go, and I'm getting 6.5, which I don't need. I could lay 6.5 probably. But you knew that Indy had to win. OKC didn't. And they had the home crowd, and in basketball, that shoots. So that was really an easy bet. But you have to use the type of logic I use. And this is why I get frustrated watching these Mark McGuire's and this whole thing with brics and Comex. You really need to understand it the way I understand it. And so I'm good at looking through things. I'm good at going, how many other people said, well, Indiana has to win, and they're getting 6.5. It's a lock. How many other people thought that? Everybody, I like OKC. They're the better team. It doesn't matter who the better team is. It matters who needs to win, who can't afford to lose, and where the game's at. And you have the team that can't afford to lose at home. They're not going to lose. Now, game 7 comes. Now, both teams have to win. The game's at OKC. I guess OKC's probably a 10-point favorite. And here I would tend to think I like the dog. I tend to think Indy in the 10. It's one thing when you can afford to lose. You probably get blown out when the other team has to win. Game 5, OKC had to win. Game 4, OKC had to win. Because if they go down 3-1, it's all over. But So they tied it at 2. Then they had to win game 3. They couldn't afford to lose. They couldn't go down 3-2 and go to Indiana for game 6, so they win. This game they have to win. Indy has to win at home as a dog. It was beautiful. I said at least a 10 unit lock yesterday. Yeah, Pacers win. Now we got to game 7. So let's look at the line. All right, gold again, 33.70. Hopefully we get back to 34 soon. We will. And silver, was it 37? It'll go back there. And the guy's doing the chart. How do you chart this? How can you chart? Let's look at a 5-day chart, then we'll get to it. Look at a 7-day chart. So how the fuck do you chart that? Gold hits 34.30, and why would it go down? Why would you chart it to go down? Oh, it's going down. Oh, it's going to keep going down. Oh, bullshit. Not with that. Let's look at silver. And at what point do you take brics? Oh, silver. Yeah, went all the way up to 37. So of course it'll go down. What a bunch of bullshit. You cannot predict that. You can't look at the chart and say, oh, it's because of this, it's going to do that. It's buy physical. He never said buy physical. That was the crucial point that Mark McGuire always says, buy physical. Let's look at the market, and then we'll get to the basketball. The Dow's up 76 points. Somehow it's idiot. You can go look at your charts all you want. You've got all the foreigners pulling the money because of the dollar not worth anything. Where's that in your chart? I mean, that was my point. The chart doesn't put the variables in. Where's China? Where's brics in your chart? It's not, because the chart you're looking at doesn't have it, or you can't price fix it. All right. Let's go to the NBA. So they win 108-91. They win by 17. Series tied at 3. We've got OKC 7.5. And this is Sunday. I don't know what they're waiting for. 7.5, 215.5. These over-unders have been 230. What was it? See, this was a 199. But this is false. Because Indy took the lead, OKC had to take a bunch of 3-pointers, pulled their starters. This is a fake score. The score you get here will probably be in the 220s. This score will be much higher. This is an over bet at 215. But I think it's Indy. Now they get to rest Halliburton for 4 days, although he looked fine yesterday. So now he'll definitely play. I think the scoring will be up. OKC will score a lot at home. They have the home crowd. OKC could win. Indy can win. Indy's won at OKC. They've beaten them 3 times. It's not like OKC is this great is the 85 Bears or the Lawrence Taylor Giants. I mean, this is a good team, not a great team, and Indy has shown that they can play right with them. I like Indy here getting 7.5, and I like the over of 215 as a joke. Again, you're not going to get a low scoring game. You're going to get a high scoring game. So even though it's at OKC, both teams have to win. There is no more you can afford to lose like yesterday. OKC could afford to lose. They get game 7. This is not that. Both teams must win. Both teams will try. You got to go OKC. You got to go Indy plus 7.5, and or you can go over 215. It's been 230. And they've gotten into the 220s a lot. This is definitely an over. I think Thunder will win, and they might. I'm not saying the winner. I'm saying I like the 7.5. The home dogs have been winning the entire series. No, except for game 4. I think Indy was a home dog and lost. But you're correct. And yesterday's home dog was a joke because we knew they were winning. They had to win. And Indy's not a bad team. Why are people undercutting Indy like they're not a good team? So David, you're right. OKC, I think will win also, but they got to win by 8 points, 8 or more. And here's where they win by 6 because they can't cover because the Mafia is like, you can win, but no more than 7 points. Um, I just see. I see at the end of the day, this will be a very close game. I don't think you get a blowout here. Um, you didn't really get a blowout in game 5 where they had to win and they won by 11, and Halliburton didn't play the second half. I think Indy knows they played them enough that they can beat them. And I'm not saying they will win, but with 7.5, I like that. So that's my play is take Indy plus 7.5 in game 7 or go over 215, I think is a very good play also. They're both high scoring teams. You can't look at yesterday. They took their starters out in the fourth quarter. And then it just became, eating the clock. I mean, that wasn't a real fourth quarter. So that's where we're at with that. So hope OKC wins, but not by 7.5. Sorry, boys. Major League Baseball. Horrific day yesterday. School ball under 7.5, and they play a 9-run game, and then the Cubs under 8.5 play a 15-run game. Scanes comes through. Why do they pull him after 100 pitches? I still don't know. And look how the Tigers try to like hit foul balls and walk and go for walks to try to tire the pitcher out. It's great strategy there. Oh yeah, but you did lose the game. So let's look at today's. Seattle goes to the Cubs, and we got the Cubs minus 149.5. George Kirby 1-3, 5.96. Matthew Boyd 6-3, 2.79. Matthew Boyd's a good pitcher, good ERA. Lost the last time out. I got to go with the Cubs, I think, here. Go Cubs, beat Navy. They're at home. The 9.5's hard. Kirby with the weak ERA, and I'm seeing this ERA doesn't mean anything. Pitchers with the 7 ERA are winning 2-0. It just baffles my mind. But that's the problem. You cannot chart this. You have to understand its trends. And if you took the trend of the pitchers, you could never pick it. You just have to go with the better ERA, 2.79 versus 5.96, and make your bet. You have to be consistent. This is how you must bet every game, and you're going to win 6 and lose 4. You hope to go 60% with it, 55%. That's all you can do. You can't do it. I don't know how else to do it because you can't. You don't know when the manager's going to the pen. You don't know how many pitches he's going to pitch. And you don't know what Seattle's going to do. So it's a lot of baseball is very difficult because there's a lot of variables. Graphs would never work in this. Texas goes to Pittsburgh. Now, we know Scanes pitched yesterday. I was really disappointed that Skubal and Scanes didn't pitch against each other. I thought that was terrible. What are you waiting for? I mean, pitch Skubal against Scanes and let him go 9 innings. Stop with this pitch count crap. The Tigers trying to hit foul balls on purpose. They have a guy, Torkelson, who sucks. And he gets a walk like every game because he looks for why. He takes pitches like I was taught when I played, if it's close with 2 strikes, you swing at it. You can't leave it to the umpire. I've never seen a guy take so many close pitches with 2 strikes in my life. The ball will be right on the edge, and they call it a ball or a little low. You got to swing at those. You can't. So he's just trying to get walks. It's terrible. All right. So Texas minus 187.5. Jacob DeGrom. That's why they're minus 180. 219. Mike Burrows 1-1 to 4. I got to go under here to tell you the truth. I know I like DeGrom. I'm sure he'll win. You're going to shut him out. We're going to go under 7.5, 2 units. But Pitt can't hit. Pitt's going to get shut out here. But I'm not sure Texas is hitting. Did we have Texas yesterday? I don't. We did somewhere in this mess, but I don't remember who they played. Um, yeah, I mean, not that Mike Burrows is any good, but I think Texas is going to win, and it should be low scoring. The Yankees, if you've noticed, if you've been watching, I've been betting them under the whole week and winning since the Boston series. It's been under against California, and this is kind of what we're looking for in baseball. I think this is the best way to bet it is the streaks. One team gets Colorado's hot. They suck. The White Sox got hot. But then the Yankees aren't hitting. So they're playing low scoring games. San Francisco's doing that. Certain teams are just they stop hitting, and then you just keep betting them under, and that's what I've been doing. So I'll point those games out. Like here, Pittsburgh scored a lot on Detroit yesterday. Detroit had their bad pitchers in, but they're not going to hit the ground. The question is Texas going to hit Mike Burrows, which I have no idea who Mike Burrows is, but my guess is it'll probably be 2-0 Texas. Detroit goes to Tampa. Now they're traveling. Detroit minus 105, 8.5. Jack Flaherty, who sucks, 5-7 with the 403. Shane Baz, 6-3 with the 454. I'm going to have to go over here. Detroit over 8.5. Now, you must realize Detroit's stealing signs again, like he did at Houston. It's the only thing that explains how a bunch of 200 hitters are hitting 270, 280. Everybody on the team's hitting. Well, it's easy if you know when a curveball is coming and a fastball is coming. So let's use logic here. How can Happy Baez, who was a career 220 hitter, hitting 290 now? I mean, he's hitting the ball because it's fixed. They know the pit. He's doing the signals again. He did it at Houston. He got caught. He lied about it. Oh, no, I didn't know. Now he's doing it again because the Tigers sucked last year. And then he did it the last 30 games, and they won a lot of games, and everybody's going, wow, this is different. Nobody's using logic here. This is why I'm far ahead of most people. I go, how can this be happening? How can these guys who hit 220 in the minor leagues now are hitting 270, 280? Because they're cheating. They're stealing the signs. He knows how to do it. He did it at Houston, so it's not a big deal. And it's clearly what's happening. And don't tell me all these guys who, who can't hit are hitting now. And the only reason some guys are not hitting is even though they know the pitch, they still can't hit it. So they know when the sliders are coming and they stay away. They know when the fastball is coming and they just get ready for it. So very few times are they fooled. Very few times, like the guy in Pittsburgh was looking for a curveball and he got a fastball. On the Tigers, they all know the fastball is coming or the curveball is coming. So I got to go over because I know they're cheating and I know they're going to score more runs. So let's go over here. Baltimore and the Yankees, as David said, the Yankees are struggling, but the Yankees are a huge favorite. We've got Yankees minus 275.9 because Max Fried's pitching. Tommy Seguno, 5-4 with a 3.88 for Baltimore. Max Fried, 9-2 with the 1.89. You have to bet the game under because, as David's saying, they're not hitting. So therefore, even against this guy, they're not going to hit a lot, but Baltimore's going to get shut out. We can't, but we don't know how many innings Fried pitches, so we hope he pitches 8. Probably pitched 7. Now we got the bullpen. So let's go under, and it's 9. So Yankees under 9, and we're going to go 3 units because it's Max Fried. Yesterday, Yankees under 10, 2 units win. The day before, Yankees under 9.5, 2 units win. The day before, Yankees under 9, 2 units, they win. Back on the 16th, Yankees under 8.5, 2 units, they win. And on the 6/15, Yankees under 8.5, 2 units, they won. So for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, I went Yankees under 2 units and won every game. And they're not even close. They're like 2-1. And Max Fried was in there. So we're jumping. I would bet a lot on Max Fried under, especially 9. Where are they going to get 9 from? So yeah, I agree. Take the under in the game. It's Max Fried should get the win, but they're not hitting for him. They're not going to win 6-0. So he's going to shut them out and be lucky if he gets one run. And then the bullpen comes in the eighth and ninth to fuck the game up. So don't mess with the roulette wheel. When black's hitting, you bet black. You don't start betting red. You don't start playing the zeros. You just keep betting black as it's hitting or red as it's hitting. And here, just keep betting the Yankees under. Just Yankees under, Yankees under. Don't fuck with the Yankees. Is no fuck. Yeah, certainly don't fuck with the over. But with Max Fried, it's got to be a shutout, right? All right. Chicago White Sox against Toronto. Toronto 185-9. Davis Martin 2-7 with the 3.79. Spencer Turnbull 1-0 with the 2.08. We'll go under here again. White Sox under 9. I think we would. We played them under 9 yesterday and they hit. And so we'll see. Turnbull, he's been hurt, I guess. He just came back. Davis Martin 2-7 with the 3.79. So he's not getting run support. All right. Atlanta goes to Miami. Atlanta 150-9. Diddler Fuentes 0-0 with the 0 for Atlanta. And a guy named Jansen Junk. Was that his pitching or what? 1-0 with the 2.78. What do you do with this mess, right? What do we got for hitting? Atlanta 4 hitters and Miami with 5 of them. So Miami can hit. Atlanta, yeah, let's go over 9 here. Atlanta over 9. I'm not going to bet it, but you've got a lot of hitting out there, and I have no idea what these pitchers are. Diddler Fuentes and Jason Junk, probably not superstars. Cincinnati goes to St. Louis. We know Cincinnati hits the ball good. St. Louis minus 145-9. Brady Singer 7-4 with the 4.34. Andre Palentine 4-3 with the 4.83. Yeah, over 9. Cincy over 9. I'll go 2 units on it. St. Louis has been hitting 2. The Mets and Philly. This is a good series. They're both 45-30. Philly minus 208.5. Blake Tidell for the Mets 0-1 with the 14.73. Goes against Zach Wheeler 7-2 with the 2.76. And I think we know why it's minus 200. So we got to go with Philly 2 units here. How the hell do you pitch a guy? How is this guy in the league with a 14.73 ERA? Now we assume he just came up and he pitched one inning and gave up 3 runs, and it makes the ERA look higher. David, how you been doing with your baseball picks? Well, the actual bets I've been doing pretty good on. Keep in mind, when I give you like the Cubs today, it's not really to bet for. But when I give you Texas under 7.5, or I give you the Yankees under 9, those are my bets. When I say 2 units, 3 units, and I've been doing pretty good on those. The regular ones, absent, like yesterday, I had KC under 8.5. I won. Toronto over 8. I won. The 49ers under 7.5. Pittsburgh, Philly. Now, but those weren't, some of the Pitt and Philly were bets. But like Toronto, the Frisco, and KC winners weren't bets. But then I lost the Mets, Tampa, and Houston over. So some of them I'm just playing to play for you guys. I'm just saying, here's my opinion on this game, but I don't love it. So if you just focus on the ones that I say 2 units or 3 units, once in a while, I'll give a 5-unit lock. I'm probably 65%. I tend to go 3-2. I'll have a 4-1. I very rarely go 0-5. I usually do about, like yesterday was like 3-3 and 4-1 earlier in the week. So they're not too bad. Again, it's, I can play Zach Wheeler against Blake Tidwell with a 14.73, and that's a bet. I can't tell you Cincinnati and St. Louis what to do with Brady Singer and Andre Palentine, or what was the other one? Atlanta, Miami. I can't pick that game. Diddler Fuentes and Jason Junk. So I give you what I think it's an over, but I don't know. But I'm giving a pick to give a pick. If you just, just to give a pick, because that's what I do. But that's not, I would not bet 5 cents on it. But I would bet 5 cents on the Yankees under, and I would bet 10 cents on Zach Wheeler. So when I give you a 2 unit, those are my plays, and I'm pretty good on those. Football is better. Baseball is tough since it's daily, a lot of variables. Well, I think the biggest variable in baseball is the players that get tired and have minor injuries. I mean, the pitchers, the hitters, you're playing every day. And I just I don't think we understand that. So the Tigers played a doubleheader yesterday, and here they go playing at where are they at? They're at Tampa, and we just look at the game. We don't pay attention that they played a doubleheader yesterday. I do think it'll be an over. Now, I do think it's easier for the fielders to play a doubleheader than the pitchers pitched. Probably different pitchers in both games, but you've used up the way baseball is now. You don't let the starter go enough. Skubal should have pitched the whole game yesterday. That was a huge mistake getting him out because now you use 2 or 3 relievers first game, 3 or 4 relievers in the second game, and what do you got today? 7, 8 pitchers you can't use, so that leads you to an over. And when you should have pitched Skubal the whole game, they should have pitched Skangs the whole game. So after a doubleheader and then traveling, and now you had to go fly to Tampa, they're tired. Right? Detroit's tired today. I would not bet on Detroit after the doubleheader, and I'm not sure I'd bet on Pittsburgh after the doubleheader. I hate these day-night doubleheaders, and they want to make it's like the owners are so stupid. Well, we won't let them stay. We're going to make it we're going to, like the Tigers, the game ended at like 4:30, 5 o'clock because it was delayed a half hour for rain. And then they okay, let's get everybody out and bring in the new customers. And we got a half hour to do it. So we can get double attendance. And you're like, are you kidding me? You should have never, the first people should never have been kicked out. They have their tickets. And if you happen to have the tickets with Skeins, because you would have wanted to see that, we'll make it up another day. You can use that. You can use that ticket anytime. That's how they should have done it, not run people out and in. But so you can't just ignore there was a doubleheader, and you can't just ignore the players are going to be 100%. And that's what we don't know. We just look at Detroit, Tampa, and I just make the pick. Joe Flaherty, he's terrible. That's why the Dodgers let him go. And so we don't know the condition of the team after playing a doubleheader and then traveling. You don't get that in football. If Detroit goes and plays the Rams, let's say, so they got to travel to LA, they're probably doing it on a Friday, and then they get Saturday to get used to the time and the jet lag, and then try to play Sunday. It's hard enough, but definitely matters. I think it's worse in college because they're taking buses. Like if Michigan plays like Purdue, they got to take a bus down to Indiana, and they're probably doing it Saturday morning. So that's a big problem. But it's the travel. It's the look at in football. I do not like playing the Thursday night game because if they played Sunday, I don't have enough time to heal. And that's 4 days, right? I don't think my guys are healed. And I usually just avoid the Thursday night game. Now, the first Thursday night game, I'll play Philadelphia. But the next week when they make them play a Thursday night game, I'm not touching it because the guys are banged up. And, and then they really fuck you up because then it's okay. Then you're off for 13 days until the following Sunday, or you're off 11 days till the following Sunday. You're all fucked up. You want it to be rhythm. Every Sunday you play, and maybe you get the Monday night, and which fucks them up anyway because they play Monday night. they don't start healing till Tuesday morning. If you played Sunday, you start healing Sunday night. So it's a big disadvantage the Monday night game, but the Thursday you can't heal, that quickly. So I avoid the Thursday night games most of the time, unless it's a good over or something. I just don't like it. Very poor. But that's what you got in baseball every day. And it's all, what am I looking at? Averages, earn run average, betting average. Again, these are averages. And as we just talked about, the Yankees in the slump, they're not hitting. I showed you, I bet 5 days in a row. Those were my picks. Those were my bets. And I had them under, and I won every game betting them under. And I think I had them under in the Sunday game with the Red Sox. So yeah, they're not hitting, even though Judge is hitting 380 and whatchamacallit, Goldsmith's hitting, but the rest of the team's in the 240s. So that's the underlying fact, and that's why you can't look at charts, because you can't. How can you put in Thursday night games and Monday night games, and then here doubleheader games? And what are you charting? You can't chart anything. You can look, okay, we get a feel the Yankees aren't hitting, we can bet that under. It's not like basketball where we were on Indy because they had to win. It was an elimination game, but not for OKC. Well, you don't have that in baseball. There's no elimination game. The Mets at Philly is no elimination game. It doesn't mean anything, right? It's 162 games. It's just it's game 76. It doesn't mean anything. So there's no extra motivation. And then you got to go with the average of Zach Wheeler with the 276 and Blake Tidwell with the 1423, which you don't even know. It was probably one game he gave up 3 runs. So is he really that bad? You like to think not, but it does make it easier. David, yeah, football is better. Yeah, you got the weekly variables, and it's easier. I have a chance to look at, Mahomes might not play. Kelsey might be out. Oh no, here he comes. Saturday he's playing. Baseball, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's injured or not. And I don't have time to look every day to see who's injured. I could check the box score and I see Bryce Harper has been out for the Phillies. I get that. So they're not going to score as much. But I just happened to check that in the box score. David, the rest of the team is hiring is hitting in the 200s. You're right. Yeah. You're talking the Tigers, I think. Well, I'm not sure which team, but yeah, I mean, the Tigers are clearly fixing it because they got hitters that cannot hit that good, like Happy Baez and then half the other, and Torkelson, and all these guys are like minor leaguers, and they're hitting 280, 290, except for Torkelson sitting 220. I'm excited for that. Getting back down to 180. Or the Yankees, yeah, the Yankees aren't hitting. That's what I look at is the box score to give me a little bit of who's playing. Oh wait, he's out, and if they got no hitting, there's a team that's got like 4. Who's the worst team? Check out the White Sox. They got 4 hitters. They got like 3 hitters hitting under 190. Texas doesn't hit. Seattle doesn't. California. Go to the California box score. 6 guys hitting under 225. I mean, so those are the teams I'm looking to bet under. And Colorado's got 5. So when they do score, you're confused because every once in a while, the 180 hitter gets 3 hits. And you're like, okay, he's done for a month. But yeah, the Yankees aren't hitting. And you can see it also in the runs. They're 2-1, 2-0, 4-2. They're not scoring. Well, obviously they're not hitting. And we don't even care if they hit. They're not scoring. And all I would do is I'd pitch around Aaron Judge and go to the 180 hitter hitting after him. As I bring up with the Yankees, it was I believe Roger Maris 3, Mickey Mantle 4. That's why Roger Maris could hit 61 home runs, because you couldn't walk him to get to Mantle. So Mantle protected him. You don't have that with Aaron Judge. There is no Mantle behind him. If Mantle was behind Aaron Judge, he'd hit 80 home runs a year. You could never walk the guy. He'd get plenty of fastballs and he'd hit them out. You can't bat a 180 hitter after him. It's just stupid. I don't understand the managers. They'll put a 290 hitter and they'll bat him last. I want this guy, especially when you got like 5 hitters that hit 210 and under, and I got my 300 hitter batting ninth. No. He's got to bat first or second or fifth. You don't, maybe he doesn't have power. You lead him off or you bat him second. I want those hitters up the most they can be. So if you on a normal game, not everybody's going to hit 4 times. So do I want my 100 hitter to only bat 3 times or my 300 hitter to only bat 3 times? The best hitters, you need to bat them at the top of the lineup. You want them up the most because it is an average and they are going to score. So that's what happens. You've got to be. I used to have this girl. I used to manage my daughter's fast pitch team. And I had this girl who was a really good hitter, and I batted her lead off. And she kept getting hit by the pitch on purpose. So she'd wear a leg guard, like a catcher's thing on her left leg. And if the pitch was a little inside or low, she'd stick her leg out and get hit. And I'm thinking, you're a very good hitter. Stop getting hit. I want you to hit the ball. I don't really want you to get hit like that. I mean, it's hit the ball, and the dad's like, oh no, she'll get hit by the pitch. And you're like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? So you get the parents trying to be the coach. Anyway, let's go back to it. So Milwaukee, Minnesota 160-8. Jacob Mizorowski 1-0 with an 0-0. Joe Ryan 7-2 with the. We're gonna go with Joe Ryan. I've heard of Joe Ryan. I haven't heard of Jacob Mizorowski 1-0. So take Minnesota. And I'll go 2 units on that. Again, I'm betting on average, ERA, earn run average as the key. Like, I'm assuming Joe Ryan will pitch and give up 2 or 3 runs. He's 7-2. He might not win, but he's going to keep them low. But I don't know the other pitcher. If the other guy was Paul Skenes, this would be a lock under. But that's where the locks and the bigger bets come, when I know the pitchers and I know what to expect. And even yesterday, we did get high scoring games with Skubal and Skenes, which was very unusual. But when you realize the Tigers are stealing signs, you kind of get it. Arizona, Colorado. Arizona 185-12. Zach Gelman 4-8 with the 519. Austin Comer 0-0 with an 0-0. You want to bet this game over, but it's a 12. How do you go over 12? Arizona can hit. Colorado's starting to hit better. We'll go over, but this is almost like a negative bet, right? I can't bet it under because I got a pitcher with a 519 against the pitcher, Austin Comer, who I remember last year hasn't pitched this year yet. Houston and California. It should be a low-scoring game. Houston minus 170-8. Hunter Brown, I like 8-3 with the 188. UC Kikuchi 2-6 with the 305. We're going to go under 8 with Houston. 2 units. I like Hunter Brown. He's been pitching very good. He's 8-3 with the 188. So there's not going to be a lot of runs in this game. Possibly we go under. No, we did go under. So possibly you could play Hunter Brown, but I think the prudent play, since UC Kikuchi's got a 3.05 ERA and he's 2-6, to probably go under, or you could play Houston, but I like the under more. KC, San Diego. San Diego 165, 7.5. Michael Lorenzen 4-7 with the 491. Nick Pivetta 7-2 with the 340. Yeah, this is a tough one. I kind of like San Diego. Pivetta 7-2. Let's go with San Diego under. They've been playing a lot of unders lately. They're not hitting, and they got Manny Machado, and they got Xander Bogaerts from Boston, the shortstop, and he's hitting like 220, so they're not hitting. Cleveland at Oakland. Cleveland 125-9. The game's at Oakland. Cleveland had to travel. Tanner Bibby 4-6 at the 3.79. Jeffrey Springs 5-5 with the 4.52. We'll go over 9. We can't bet it. Oakland plays a lot of over games. So again, one of the variables we look at is travel. Cleveland's going to the West Coast. So we're trying to pull all the variables out to make the pick. The pitchers, the hitters, how are they doing in the streaks? Have they been scoring a lot or not scoring a lot lately? And the pitchers. And so that's how you're trying to come up with the pick, right? And it's shaky because a lot of it's averages. Does the travel really matter? Well, it should, but sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, we're just going to go over because Oakland scores a lot. Washington goes to the Dodgers. Dodgers minus 200, 8.5. Mackenzie Gore, 3-6, 2.89. Clayton Kershaw, 2-0 with the 3.85. Let's look what Kershaw did. He had a bad first game. He just came back. He's been back 5 games. He gave up 5 runs against California. Then he only pitched 2 innings against the Mets and shut them out for 2 innings, whippy. Cleveland, he pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 run. Then against the Mets, he pitched 4 innings and gave up 5 runs. And then against St. Louis, 5 innings, he gave up 1 run. And then the 49ers, 7 innings and shut them out. But the 49ers don't hit. The Mets hit. And that's probably so. He's had 2 times he gave 5 runs, and then he's had 2 shutouts and 2 1-run games. So what does that tell us? Not a whole lot. We don't know which pitcher's going to show up. Where did I go? Oh, there I am. Mackenzie Gore is pretty good. So let's say Kershaw pitches well. Washington doesn't hit. So you'd go under 8.5, but I'm not going to bet it. The Dodgers are a really inconsistent team. One day they'll score 10 runs, and the next time they get shut out. So you don't know which team it is. So let's make it even harder when you get a psychotic team out there. And our last game is Boston at the 49ers. That would have been a good Super Bowl, New England and the 49ers, especially with Montana. The 49ers won 137.5. Hunter Dobbins, 4-1 with the 3.74. Hayden Birdsong, 3-1 with the 2.79. Frisco's been playing under, so I'm going to go under with Frisco. Under 7.5. I'm not going to bet it. I always bet the late football games, but I'm going to pass on this. So we start off, we take the Cubs, no bet. Texas under 7.5, we bet it, 2 units. Detroit over 8.5. We know they're stealing pitches. We're going to go over on them, 8.5. The Yankees under 9, 3 units. The White Sox under 9, we're not betting. Atlanta over 9, we're not betting. Cincinnati over 9, 2 units. Philly, 2 units. Minnesota, 2 units. Arizona over 12, we're not betting. Houston under 8, 2 units. San Diego under 7.5. Cleveland over 9. LA under 8.5. And the 49ers under 7.5. So the only bets are Texas under 7.5. Yankees under 9. Max Fried going. That's why it's 3 units. That would probably be, if you're just looking, that would probably be the only bet of the day is take the Yankees under and put a nice couple hundred on it. And that would be your bet. Then one bet, that's it. Cincinnati over 9, 2 units. Philly, 2 units. Minnesota, 2 units. And Houston under 8, 2 units. So there's 2, 4, 6 bets. But the best one is the Yankees under, and it's Max Fried. So again, what I'm trying to show here, I can't go 100% in baseball. It's just too difficult. It's every day. You don't know about injuries and everything else. All you can do is I'm trying to teach you how to analyze. What am I looking for? Did they travel? Did they play yesterday? They played a doubleheader yesterday. We're looking at the ERAs of the pitchers. We're looking at the team hitting. We're looking at the Yankees aren't hitting. So that's a clue, and bet them under. And I showed you, I bet them under 5 times this week, and they won all 5 times. So that's the point of giving you baseball. Now, if you are a bettor, and a lot of you are betting my football games, you're going to bet the baseball. I'm much better at football. Obviously, it's once a week, and there's a lot more rhyme and reason into betting it, and I'm very good at it. Baseball, I'm figuring out what works and what doesn't, and I think the ERAs and the batting averages help, and the streaks. The Yankees aren't hitting. You look at that. The Tigers, Pittsburgh off a doubleheader are going to be very tired. So, I would think you'd get more hitting. I think the pitchers get tired. I don't think the batters do. And that's it. I teach you how to pick the basketball. Indy had to win. OKC could lose. Indy's a home dog, and they win by 15 points. That was probably the easiest pick I've had. The other easy one was Golden State losing game 1, and I can't remember who they lost it to. And they were 3.5-point favorites. I think Cleveland. Game 2, they won the series, and they were down. They couldn't go down 0-2 at home. You can't lose both games at home. You're the better team. And they blew like a 20-point lead in the first game. And they had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and everything. And they killed them. They won by like 25 points, laying 3. That was a lock. Nick knows that. I gave it to him. Now Nick has to listen to the video to get it. And that's it. So you're picking my brain with the logic of that's what separates me in many ways in economics and in picking is you look at it and you can see certain things, and then you see, hey, they did win. Look, the back's against the wall and they won. Hey, that's a good thing. That's more for football, but it works in basketball playoffs. Baseball now, it's not going to. What do you have? There's nothing backs against the wall. It doesn't matter. A team's a shit team. Colorado does not have their back against the wall. They're 6 feet under, as the White Sox are. So there's no real game. Philly and the Mets, it doesn't matter. It's just another game. I don't buy that the Tigers have the best record or the best team. I don't think that comes across because of different schedules. We saw it in football with Michigan. They went undefeated, and they were nowhere close to having the best team. I thought Oregon and Georgia had better teams. It's got nothing to do with record if you're a good team. It's who you play. Look at the SEC last year. Georgia played Texas and Ole Miss and Tennessee. Michigan played nobody. Well, Michigan had a better schedule because then they had Washington and Oregon and USC they had to play. So last year was a better, but if you go back the year prior, they played nobody. Colorado State and Hawaii and the Big Ten sucked, and there was no Ohio State was terrible. So you really had no idea about them. Even watching the whole year, you had no idea. So it's not the best record. It's really kind of strength of schedule, especially baseball. You're playing every day, so you get hot or whatever. Doesn't mean they're the best team. I never thought that. Seattle won 120 games, in the 90s. They weren't the best team. They didn't win the World Series. Those are the team that wins the World Series, the best team. I don't mind that. What I do mind is college basketball. When you win the NCAA tournament, like you're not the best team. You won a tournament. You're not the best team. All right. Anything else on that? Let's go to Mark McGuire. Now let's check on our gold. Best baseball. So good luck if you're betting. If you're betting, just bet the Yankees tonight under. Let's see. Gold 33.71 and silver 36. So I'm not worried. It's not going anywhere. It'll boom. Now we're going to get into Mark McGuire and these stupid charts.
Hi, Mr. Wonderful here. I don't waste time, and I definitely don't waste money. I joined Start Engine. What's the root cause?
All right, so we got an idiot economist and an idiot weatherman who are looking at graphs. How high did my blood pressure go when I saw the Heckle and Jekyll on? Here's my comments. So here's my first comment. What the fuck kind of show is this? Who are these two idiots? You can't use trends to chart price fixed goods. Where's brics in their analysis? Too many variables. Stupid show. What a waste of time. If you want to learn what the fuck is going on, the Teaserking explains 1,000 times better. The professor. Then a little later, I go, this sounds like a scam. They don't understand variables like why gold is going up because of BRICS, China and Russia, inflation. They're talking Bitcoin. They don't even understand it's a Ponzi scheme. They don't what they're doing. Two clueless weatherman laugh out loud. One's a weatherman. You're going to listen to investing advice by a weatherman, you're in big trouble. I thought this was probably the stupidest show they've done, but now they're part of Kinesis. So Mark McGuire's got them on as like trying to sell their trends. You can't. You don't have enough. We were just talking baseball for the last hour about how hard it is because you can't really use trends. You're looking at averages and stuff like that. I have 3,000 hours in the KC 135 in the Air Force. We used to call our weather guy Larry the Liar. Exactly. These people have, and as they explain it, they have no idea where it's, all they're saying is it's going down, so get out. It's going up, so buy it, which is what I did with, it's what I did when I was playing, when I was day trading the gold stock. And the only reason I did it was because it was algorithms. So at 10 o'clock, it would drop, and then I would wait. And usually around 10:30, it started going up, and I went on for the ride. Now, I knew it was price fixed, but it was day trading it. So if I put 1,000 shares, and if it goes up 70 cents, I make $700. If it goes up 30 cents, I make $300. And there was days that it went down and then started going up, and I'd buy, and then it would double dip me. And then I had to wait a week till I finally got back. But I didn't know why it was going up or down. You're at the mercy of JP Morgan and the derivative gang, and you have no idea when JP Morgan starts buying and selling. So these two guys, I think they're idiots. We don't really care when they were born. So he's going to do a Bitcoin chart. All right. So I'm going to shred these guys, as I like to do, because I don't want you wasting your time on thinking that you can make money on it. You have to understand what drives gold and silver up. You have to understand that you have no idea what Bitcoin's doing because it's price fixed by JP Morgan and Larry Fink and Michael Saylor. And when it's low, they buy it. When it's high, they sell it. That's all you need to know. There is no chart for it. And it's fixed. Bitcoin isn't even real. That's the point they're missing. They're charting Bitcoin. It's not even real. It's a Ponzi scheme. Gold and silver, we're not wasting our time with this. We're buying physical. And it's as much physical as you can buy. When the price goes down, you buy more because it's low. And when it goes up, it just keeps going up and you keep buying the physical. There's nothing to it. It's just buy and hold the physical. You're not looking at charts. Nobody should be buying gold using options, right? Except for JP Morgan. Right. So me and you should never be buying and selling gold. We buy physical. We don't buy, I don't even know what this is, ETFs or gold. It's not gold stocks. He's just showing gold. Well, what does that mean? I'm buying physical and I'm holding. I buy and hold physical. I don't buy, oh, it's going down, I'm going to sell it. As he tries to explain, what a bunch of idiots. All right, let's take a few minutes. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but I want to shred them. So I like that.
Make them cluttered. We'll try not to make them over technical or over geeky. And in this particular case for Bitcoin, we've put this out for our members saying, keeping it simple for Bitcoin, there's a critical resistance line that's been tested on multiple occasions. Okay, and above 113,000, then you're into something that is going to suggest a higher probability that Bitcoin is then going to progress onwards and upwards to whatever the upside target could be, 140, 150, 160. That involves an extra piece of work to calculate the most likely upper target. But the point is that at the moment we're trapped underneath this 113,000 level, and the technical evidence, which we're not showing all of the evidence on this chart, but there are other pieces of technical evidence that suggest this region around 113,000 is particularly important. Okay, we need to overcome that on a weekly closing basis. Okay, so another piece of evidence that we show, for example, is the Bitcoin to altcoin ratios. And our members have been well informed over past weeks and past months that Bitcoin is outperforming the altcoins. Okay, so therefore, really, the signal that you want to be looking at on our website is the Bitcoin signal. So out of all of the cryptocurrency trading signals that we're giving, because Bitcoin is outperforming the altcoins, and that includes things like, as I say, XRP, XLM, whether it's Litecoin. Ethereum's been doing a little bit more recently. So we're keeping a very close eye on Ethereum. But I want to show you this particular example for Bitcoin and what's been going on over the last few weeks. So the trend navigating system on our website it covers a number of different aspects. And we have instruments tracked, and we have trend navigating signals for stackers and for big picture investors, for example. So if you're investing for long periods of time, you can look at the trend signals that are being given for gold and silver and a whole range of...
Show them, Kevin. Show them the signal we got for silver.
Yeah, I'll show you. So let's start with silver. So
are we doing Bitcoin or silver? So that was a great analysis on Bitcoin, wasn't it? He didn't show anything. You can't do a trend analysis on Bitcoin because you don't know when Larry Fink and Saylor are going to buy or sell. It's not real. That's why it's at 100,000 and all the others are at 500. Well, Ethereum's breaking out. Go buy Ethereum then. It's not real. It's a Ponzi scheme. The whole thing is a Ponzi scheme. Digital money's not real. I mean, that's the first concept. So he's trying to chart it. Well, what made it go up? I have no idea. It did. Well, what made it go down? I have no idea. It did. So all he's pointing out is this is what it did. It went up, and then it hits 113, and it goes down. Why did it go down? He has no idea. What is it? He has no idea. It's digital money. What is it? It's not real. It's a Ponzi scheme. He misses the point completely. Do you ever hear me buy Bitcoin, or I tell you to sell it and buy gold? I would never tell you to buy it because it's not real. All right, I can't wait for the silver one.
This is for investors and long-term kind of stackers. Okay, it's not for trading. So this chart is going to load up and it's going to show you the buy and sell signals that our system gave. Okay, so you can look back in the early 2000s and see that it got you right in at the beginning of the move. There was one exit and one re-entry, and it got you out, avoiding all of that opportunity cost as silver plunged from its highs. Now, more recently, the entry signal for silver was right here at the top of that green candle, somewhere around about $23, and roughly 70 cents. That kind of.
Okay, first of all, you would want to buy. Where's my finger? You'd want to buy on the when it went down. Fuck.
And
so when it went down, if I can put my finger on it, when it went down here, you would be buying it because you want to buy silver cheaper. This is to buy physical. What are you paying? There's nothing you can play here. You don't play COMEX. You get killed at it. You just buy physical and buy it. But what's his explanation of why it went up and down? Well, you would have got out of this and you would have got the fuck's he talking about?
That kind of level. So we are long silver and have been since that entry signal was given. And you can actually go onto the strategy tester at the bottom here, and you can look at the list of trades, and you can see up 53%, up 70%. Now, when there is some chopping around of the price, when the price is interacting with the moving averages, you get a number of buy and sell signals with smaller either losses or gains. So you can see you get chopped around a little bit when the price is going sideways, but what it does and what it aims to do is that it gets you in right near the beginning of every big bull market.
Of course.
And it gets you out before the bulk of the bear market takes hold, and it avoids you.
What a bunch of bullshit. So when you get in before it goes up, and then when it gets up, you get out. And what was the signal that made you buy? And what is the signal that get you out? There's no fucking signals. It's COMEX. It's China buying the silver, and you need to buy it and hold it. That the game they're playing makes zero sense to me because you're buying physical. That's all we care about, and we can buy it cheaper. And when the price goes up, great. And when it goes down, we buy more, and we wait. We're just waiting for COMEX to collapse. Does he mention COMEX? Does he mention brics? Does he mention buying the silver? No. He just says, well, when it's about to go up, you buy it. And then when it hits the top, you don't know when the top is, you idiot. So, of course, your signal was sell it at 37, and now it's at 36, and you're buying it. Based on what? The chart? Guy sounds like an idiot.
Having to sit through that big, long, multi-year time period where the price is going absolutely nowhere. So that is how the big picture trend navigator system works. We can look at gold, much the same thing.
I can't wait for that.
You can see the gold chart there, and it's about to load up with the signals that the trend navigator system has been giving for our long-term investors and stackers. And you can see a buy signal back in 2004, down near $400, got you out here. Avoided all of the multi-year bear market there, and it's got us back in. You can see the top of that green candle there, around about $1,800 or so. In fact, if we go into the strategy tester, you can look at the trade itself, long position entry.
What a bunch of bullshit. Oh, you can see when it's going up, we would have got you into it. I mean, well, what is this? I mean, is this just bullshit or what? This guy's saying, well, look, when it went down, the signal was to go down, and then when it hit something, the signal was to go up. What signal? Can't you explain your signals? Can't you explain why? When did brics come into this? How about COMEX collapsing? No gold. Brics buying gold. Where's the central banks buying the gold? That's the signal. That doesn't show up there. What a bunch of scammers these guys are.
1822 up 83%. You can see that 189% gain there, and you can see the 6%, small 6% losses as well. So again, the trend navigator system, we've pre-selected the time frame. In this case, it's a quarterly chart, so you're getting signals based on the quarterly candle closes, and the system uses a combination of how the price interacts with the moving averages. Now, if we look at Bitcoin, and this is in the trend navigator system again, but we're following Bitcoin on a daily candle chart. So for cryptocurrencies, because they trend
they're phony
on shorter time frames as well, we can give lots of buy and sell signals for traders. So this is for trading. The previous charts I showed you were for...
Who's trading Bitcoin? They're all buying it and holding it. Who's trading gold and silver? Nobody's trading gold and silver. You're buying it. All right, let's stop wasting time with the. All right, let's look at this chart.
Possible short-term correction cascaded.
Another weatherman.
What was that? A 40% drawdown, Kevin? Like it was a. You don't have to go through that.
107 down to 74, so it's about probably a 30% drawdown, and you avoided all of that. You have to bear in mind and have the mindset of a trader here. So if you're looking at this thinking, oh yeah, but Bitcoin's going up to 160,000, a trader isn't really interested in that. A trader wants to get in, take the profits, and get out on a short-term basis, avoiding all of these big long drawdowns. So this is for a short-term trader. If you've got an investing or stacking mentality, then we cater for that as well on the website and all of our posts and podcasts. So, we're catering for those.
What a bunch of bullshit this is, isn't this? Well, look, when it's going up, we're telling you to go up, and then trader, who's trading gold and silver? You're buying physical. Who's trading it? How are you trading it? What are you buying? Bitcoin. There's no stacking in Bitcoin. It's all make-believe fantasy. There's no Bitcoin to stack. What's he talking about? You want to listen to a weatherman and an economist who are they're looking at their charts, and when it goes up, they say, "See, it went up," and we got you in it when it was going up, and see, it went down, and we got you out, and all this little stuff. You would have been out on the sidelines. What a bunch of bullshit this is. Unbelievable. I don't sit there, and I've never said to do any of this shit because it's shit. This is exactly what it is. Where's brics in all this? Right? Where's Comax? Oh, it's not here.
The longer term time frame as well, but this is for trading. And just to illustrate, if you go onto the strategy tester and you look at the overview, I think it is, you can see how over time this green graph has gone from bottom left to top right, and it's continuing to trend upwards. And the green graph is representing what would have happened if you placed 2% of your NAV, 2% of a 100,000. 2% of a $100,000 NAV, so $2,000 into each trade. So just using $2,000, you would have generated $70,000.
Oh,
so if you've got a 100,000 NAV, which means say a £100,000 pot for investing, and you leave £98,000 of it in the bank, or no, sorry, $98,000, whatever your currency is, $98,000, leave 98K in the bank, and just take 2K. And if you'd used 2K of that 98 just on this one set of signals in the TNS, you would have generated a profit of 70,000 on 2,000.
What signals? It goes up, it goes down. These guys are really pissing me off. I'm sorry, but I can't listen to a weatherman, and they really don't talk about brics.
Bitcoin isn't the only horse in the race. Gold isn't the only horse in the race.
Yes,
we can tell you which horse is winning, and therefore you can.
No, you can't.
And I know that you cover a huge array of asset classes. Can you run through? Maybe you could pop up a screen and show, if you've got it available. Where I've seen, obviously, I'm a member of your service, so I can see what you're doing. But perhaps you could illustrate to people that you're covering so much territory there.
I can see Pat getting his screen ready to share.
I'll share my screen, guys, for you guys.
I can't wait.
There's literally no limit to what we're covering. I mean, it's
I know.
Every sector within the stock market, a whole range of stocks and currencies.
I'll show people here. This is you get a sneak peek by. This is like our latest post where you find all the posts in chronological order. It's like, I can't even count. I use thousands, Kevin, 5,000. It's like we track a whole bunch of stuff, and everything's sorted by categories. Here we're talking about some oil shipping plays. Here we have some gold, short-term updates, longer-term. We do macro. Some people are interested in macro, recessions. What are the odds of a recession? We can do educational stuff. So if I click on that one, we'll explain the members that you could be long and short at the same time. And then
the question was, what are your asset classes? The answer is none.
go yet, and after that, if you get it one, you go 100%, and that's how you could just play around with your stack and increase your ounces.
People don't realize is that silver has barely even begun to
we realize
do what it's going to do. So silver, this little move, even if we go to $50 or $60 or $65, this is just the warm-up act for what is coming, because silver has its massive, and I do mean massive, period of outperformance after stock markets have bottomed. Now, the stock market hasn't even rolled over yet. We had a little bit of a scare a little while ago. Now we're recovering. The stock market has got a bottom, which might take a year, 18 months. And silver, after that, silver's a recovery metal. That is when silver is going to double. It'll double again. It'll double again, and it'll double again. Silver will be way past,
Silver won't move till COMEX collapses, which he doesn't understand. Stock market's going to collapse any time now. It's not going to trigger silver. The inflation is what triggers silver. Get them dollars worthless and gold's $5,000 an ounce, and you need money, you go buy silver. Doesn't understand inflation, doesn't understand brics. Silver's going to go. Why? He misses the point of the why. This is the problem. Well, our signals show this. Based on what? Well, they're just signals. I mean, this is a bunch of Ponzi schemes. A little bit more.
$100 will be well.
Don't waste your time on this.
So, whatever you're thinking about silver now and getting sort of excited about it, I've got to remind you that this,
All right, so here's my latest. Why is the stocks going to crash? Why is gold and silver going up? When will Bitcoin go to zero? Two clueless weathermen. If you can't explain it, you shouldn't be losing people money. You're both clueless. Maybe I need to take that last part out. Normally I say you're both idiots, but I mean, that's the problem. Like, why? Have they said brics once? Have they said inflation once? The dollar collapsing once? Tariffs once? No, they're just looking at the charts and go, well, when the chart does this, they don't know why the chart does it. They're basically idiots.
This is very, very early in the process. The capital rotation process does not really, get confirmed until the stock market has some really big, serious falls and breaks down below major support.
The stock market is fixed, you idiot. The Fed puts the money in. This is not free market. What are you guys doing? Anybody who's with these idiots, you better get out now. If you're listening to them, you're going to lose all your money because they don't know what they're talking about. So please be careful. This is why I like showing these people, to show you what real scammers do, and they sell you on the charts, which are fake, which don't mean anything. And if they can't explain it, they don't know what they're doing, and they obviously can't explain this.
stopped. That has not happened yet. That is the one piece of the jigsaw puzzle that has not fallen into place yet. Yes, gold is broken out versus all sorts of things, and silver is breaking out versus all sorts of things on the ratio charts. But the final piece that will tell us that this is truly an era, reminiscent of, let's say, the 1970s where gold and silver went absolutely berserk, or the early 2000s where the same thing happened. We'll know that when the stock market.
When did gold and silver go absolutely berserk? They're not at 20,000 an ounce yet. Going up from $100 to $500 is not going berserk, especially when it's price fixed.
Has broken below crucial, critical, key support, and I think the rest of the world will know.
That's an opportunity right now. This is something that everyone's been talking about for a long time. This is an opportunity for people to hop in and actually allow your pressure signals, your charts, to tell them, this is my entry opportunity. This is my, in other words, I don't have to do this work. You've done this work. And I can sit aside and hold my gold or whatever. But when I want to get heavy into silver, your chart will tell me that. And then I will be in, and I'll probably weight it a lot more than 50-50 at that point. So this is an opportunity. What I'm saying is, right now, you have an opportunity to not only test the set.
If you don't buy your silver now and you wait for it to hit $50, $100 an ounce, you're an idiot, because we know what's going to happen. If you know what's going to happen, you buy it, and you buy physical. You do not buy whatever this paper shit is. Anyway, it's all I can't listen to any more of this garbage. This came up with Alligator the other day about, well, this was on As Good as Gold. A bill introduced full audit on Fort Knox. And they asked Alligator, and he flatly says, never happened.
Insurance companies don't want you to know this. Homeowners, if your insurance rates keep going up like
to have an audit of the, a proper metal audit. I mean, you can do a financial audit, maybe, on the assumption that the metal is there.
This is auditing Fort Knox.
Is the one that really matters. And there are plenty of people who can do this. So it's not something which is difficult to do. But the fact that from Ron Paul onwards, there has been a complete denial of the need for this by the US Treasury, I think tells us that there is a problem. Currently, total gold, according to the note on the Fed's balance sheet, amounts to something like 8,130 odd tons. Now, we don't know that that's that. We really don't. The suspicion that it might not be there, or not all of it be there, really goes back to the 1970s, when the US Treasury tried to suppress the price of gold as part of its policy of trying to replace gold with the dollar as the international settlement medium. And that was something which continued for a very, very long time. And as recently as maybe 10, 11 years ago, there were, if you like, the footprints of very large government operators in the paper markets trying to suppress the price of gold. I mean, for example, when it ran up to a height of 1920, and I think it was 2011, September 2011, it came off, it recovered. But then I heard from friends in London that, they were going to hit it very, very hard. And they did, and they drove the price down to 1,040 and change. So government action has been a feature of the gold market, really, ever since 1971, when the Bretton Woods agreement was suspended by President Nixon. So I think I can't see that they will ever give way to an audit. And not only that, but Scott Bessent, the current Treasury Secretary, before he took office, was a supporter of having a proper audit of the nation's gold. And now, of course, he's clammed up on the story. The official bit, if you like, or the background briefing to anyone who comes in as a Treasury Secretary or whatever is, don't go there. Just don't go there. That basically is where it always will be until the credibility of the dollar, of the federal dollar, is seriously questioned. Then at that stage, there will be decisions to make. I think it's worth pointing out that the Bundesbank's problems of getting its gold back, or just a portion of its gold back, about 10 years ago or so, that really didn't involve Fort Knox and West Point and so on. That was because those are storage facilities for the US Treasury's gold, if you like. The earmarked gold for foreign central banks is held in the New York Fed. So again, that is an interesting question. How much gold is there compared with how much gold should be there? What we discovered from the problems that the Bundesbank had getting just literally 300 tons returned. I mean, the New York Fed told them it would take 7 years to get it back. Now, I suspect the reason it was only 300 tons was, first of all, there were negotiations going behind the scenes to arrive at a figure which they could talk about. And 7 years just told us, I mean, it was quite simple. It wasn't there.
Correct.
So they needed 7 years in order to accumulate the gold, if you like, in order to deliver it in, piecemeal. And then we had the Dutch decided that, oh dear, this probably means that our gold isn't there. We better get it back. They had, I think, something like 1,000 tons there. But this time, the New York Fed delivered it all in one go. Why? Because they saw that their behavior with the Bundesbank was actually undermining their credibility as custodians of foreign central bank gold. But it raises the question, where did that gold actually come from?
Yeah.
In other words, did they need Peter to pay Paul? We just don't know. We don't know. I mean, it's a problem.
All right, we got it, Alligator. So let me get back to my thesis here, that you can't use a technical analysis because you don't have all the variables. In this case, the guy gave us 0 variables. He just said, oh, here's the buy signal, here's the sell signal, which we don't know what they are. Where does he got BRICS and Russia and China and the war and all this stuff? Where is it showing his graphs? Where that's somehow included? Bullshit. And just by looking at what happened does not tell you what is going to happen. This is because of Basel III, which is not in his charts. How can it be? July 1st should make silver and gold go much higher. Is that in his charts? How could it be? So you cannot, just because silver went from 32 to 37, oh, is that a breakthrough? It's going to 50. That's not the reason. It's going there because of Basel III. It's going there because it's money. It's going there because of the inflation. Where is inflation in his chart? You've got to explain that. And that's why I don't look at charts, because it's bullshit. I don't care what happened before. I look at the new things: BRICS, Russia, China, COMEX, the dollar going out, the massive inflation, Basel III. That's why we're buying gold and silver, basically because this is worthless. How do you see this on a chart? This is gone. This has been printed to death. It has no value. We can't sell our bonds. We have a $36 trillion debt. Where's that on his charts? Does he even have it? Does he even understand it? He's a weatherman. He doesn't understand any of that. It's very simple why you're buying gold and silver, because you got to get out of the dollar. That's it. It's very, very simple. We don't need a chart to tell us that, and that chart wouldn't tell us that. If it was going up before, then it went down. Oh, see, you would have got out when it went down, and then you would have got in when it went up. The fuck are you talking about? What kind of crap is this? You cannot get out at the right time and buy at the right time. So you buy now all the gold and silver, and you just wait. You've already bought it. You know where it's headed because of we understand because of the inflation, printing the dollar, making it worthless, meaning you have to buy gold and silver. Now the Fed has been price fixing it. So how the hell do you chart price fixing? They're price fixing Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin 100,000 and all the other ones $5? Right? So that's phony. It's not even real money. It's digital, which is not real. So what are you talking about? So he thinks he can just do charts on everything, and that's going to tell you what the currency is and what this is and what that is. It's bullshit. What's the inflation going to be? Well, based on my chart, fuck the chart, based on the dollar printing, based on getting off the petrodollar, based on Russia, China, and BRICS, based on 37 trillion in debt. That's not in the chart. That's the critical formula, is to understand what is going on, and we're buying gold because the dollar's worthless. Right? It's gone. They printed too much and nobody wants it. BRICS are getting off the dollar. These guys they don't understand that. If it is, he's not explaining that in the charts, that we're looking at the dollar, we're looking at BRICS, and we're looking at that. I watched the beginning of the video and nowhere did I see it. And then he gets in the chart, says, well, here the buying signal was to buy and it went up, and the selling signal was to sell and it went down. What signals are you talking about? Sorry, I can't. I know technical analysis doesn't work because I use it, and it doesn't work in football. When it works with Mahomes and Reed and Joe Burrow, and it works with Baltimore and Buffalo. About 10 teams it works, and all the other teams that have changed coaches and players and new quarterbacks, it can't work. Daniels, we have a 1-year trend on. Bo Nix, we have a 1-year trend on. Harbaugh, we have a 1-year trend on. The other Harbaugh, we can play with Lamar, and we know he should be a slot receiver. That's you've got to know the reasons and the functions, and that's what I do in baseball and basketball. I don't look at a chart and see, well, OKC should be the play yesterday. I go way, way above that. I'm going, no, they have to win. The other team doesn't. I've simplified it. I could not use a chart. A chart would have got me bet on Oklahoma City, and I would have lost because they won game 4 and they won game 5. Oh, OKC's going to win because look at the chart. They're winning. Or the charts say they were going to lose. I mean, it's bullshit. So this is what I'm really trying to teach you and tell you and explain to you. Don't be so quick into looking at technical analysis. It does not work, because how can you put all the variables into it? And what you looked at before in 2005, if we're looking at gold, it's not, BRICS wasn't there. And then it starts doing whatever. And then BRICS starts buying. That's why it goes up. It's got nothing to do with the chart. And gold will still go up. And JP Morgan's doing its best to keep the price down. It's got nothing to do with the chart. It's JP Morgan price fixing it. You can't look at a chart and understand that. You can't understand it's going to 4,500. And we can look at it now and see it at $33.71 and silver's 36. So we can look at this chart, but this doesn't help us at all. We know because of the inflation, it'll be 4,500. No chart can show you that. Same thing with silver. Silver's 36.02 because about to do Basel III. That's why it's going up, and you can't see that in a chart. Even if you could, it doesn't matter. You can see it in Basel III coming up in 10 days now. July 1st, we got Basel III, so here we go. So that's what is really happening, and that's why when I saw this on Mark McGuire, I'm wondering what the fuck Mark McGuire's doing, and he's not catching the Basel III, BRICS, nobody wants the dollar, the inflation, the debt. Where is that on your technical analysis? You can't just ignore it all and say, well, it's doing this. It's doing it because of all those factors, the inflation, the debt, the BRICS. Nobody wants the dollar. The petrodollar's gone. So you go to a safe haven, you buy gold and silver. You don't go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not even real. The stock market is going to collapse. Why? Why is the stock market going to collapse? You don't even know, because all the foreigners are going to pull their money out. Well, where is that on your charts? What a bunch of horse shit. So that's all you can really do, is just you understand it's horse shit. And, I don't know why Mark McGuire is wasting our time with these. I hate every other Friday when he brings this idiotic guest on. It really is mind numbing. Anyway, I don't need a chart to know gold's going to 4,500. It's because of BRICS and the inflation. I don't need a chart that says silver is about to hit 50, because it's got to break 36. It's 36.04. It's this morning. It was at 37. And, but again, they wanted to do derivatives to make money on the price going down. So it's all derivatives. So there's no chart that pictures derivatives. It's so stupid. Because if you looked at a chart, you never would have saw 37, because it's never been on the chart. All right. Anything else? Baseball picks today. Texas under 7.5. The Yanks under 9. Cincinnati is over 9. Philadelphia, Minnesota, and Houston under 8. Those are your picks. Basketball, we're going with Indy plus the 9.5 to cover. We lost in game 5, getting Indy as a home dog, getting 6.5. They lost by 7 at the end. But here I think it'll be a tight game to the end. And I think OKC at home is probably the better team, but we will see. Indy was aggressive yesterday, so I don't really like playing the road team in basketball too often. But I mean, we had a home team game 5 and game 6, and those were easy winners. So, we'll see what happens. Football, I think I'm going to try to buy my Athens thing. I'll go to, there's a Barnes and Noble a couple miles up near the bank. I might try it and get that, and I can study it this weekend. This is a great book, but I'd watch it on YouTube. It's The Wealth of Nations, but it's kind of big. It's a good source, but it's basically a free market, and the individual controls everything, and that's why it's such a good system. The rest of these, I was watching this thing on these 10 economic systems. They're not even economic systems, really. There's no such thing as socialism. There's communism, which is the government running it. And then there's, I think, this other thing that Hitler did, where you had businesses, but the government ran the business. When socialism, the government runs everything, or communism. So it's all the same. It's all the government's running everything. It's not good, and you don't want to go there. Anyway, I think that's about it. So I will leave you on this Friday. www.teaserking.com. Have a wonderful day, and good luck if you're betting today, and just enjoy your weekend. All right. Take care, everybody.